Party people in the place to be. What's going on? It's me. If it's Sunday, it must be time for yet another long overdue movie review. How long overdue? 10 years, apparently. We're talking about Friends with Benefits, the Mila Kunis, JT, Justin Timberlake, Rom-com, from 2011. This movie... fuck it. We're gonna get into that. But first, before we get into it, if you're here and you like what you see, how could you not like the freaking video and share it with somebody? You can subscribe too. I love new subscribers, but like the shit and share the shit so everybody can know just how fantastic I am. I am your favorite YouTuber after all. Don't deny it. We all know it's true. Now, let's get to the movie. The non-spoiler section of the movie. First thing I noticed, 2011, Justin Timberlake looks like a child. And I remember when NSYNC came out and all the little girlies were going crazy over Justin Timberlake and his bad perm thing, Kyle Broflovsky type hair that he had going on. And Britney and I remember, I was a young-looking kid then too. I was a young-looking kid then too. I was young-looking man now, but I was a young-looking kid then too. Jesus Christ, he looks like a fetus in this movie, especially because he's so clean-shaven in this stupid thing. Like, who? Give him some stubble or something. I know bad guys, I know good guys don't. Whatever the fuck. He looks incredibly young in this movie, and I guess that's supposed to be the point. They're in their 20s. I'm guessing is when what they're supposed to be. Are they supposed to be in their 20s? They can't be supposed to be in their 20s. Early 30s. They got because the job. We're gonna get to that when we get to the spoiler section. JT looks amazingly young at the beginning. There's an interesting style to this movie that they're trying to convey. It doesn't entirely hold through the whole movie, but they try in the beginning and they try to kind of bookend it at the end. There's an interesting style. It pops up occasionally, I think, but not really. Like it's noticeable in the first part, and then it gets into movie type territory. In terms of the production, it seemed there were a couple little edits that may have been a little bit fast. The acting was fine. It's typical Mila Kunis fare at this point in her career. I'm not sure about a lot of maybe her recent stuff, but at this point in her career, a few years removed from that 70s show, a couple years removed from or around the same time of Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and Jason Sudeikis makes a cameo in this movie too. It's this typical same Mila Kunis type fare that you would get from her, kind of Jackie-esque character, abrasive, kind of tomboyish type nature from her character. Justin Timberlake's acting, not. There are a couple periods where it's not great in this. The director, maybe holds on to a couple shots of him a little bit too long in certain scenes, but for the most part, it's fine. It's serviceable for a rom-com. Your standards are already super duper low anyway, because it's just a rom-com. It's just a rom-com. There are a couple moments that tries to buy more gravitas than it needs to, but again, I think that's rom-com fare. I think that's what they all kind of do. All right, that's the non-spoiler section. So I'm going to take a sip before we dip into spoiler territory. Use another cube. But good to go. All right, get it, got it, good. Okay, so this movie is Justin Timberlake. Jesus Christ, my neighbors. Justin Timberlake, and I'm sure they say the same thing about me. Mila Kunis is a headhunter for jobs. Justin Timberlake works at a website here on the West Coast. She's on the East Coast. She tries to recruit him for GQ magazine. She does. He comes. She's the only person he knows in the city, so they hang out for a lot of time. So that's how the whole thing starts. Very, very unrealistic start, because she's a headhunter. She's gonna bring him to the city, sets up the apartment, etc., etc. All that you can kind of buy. This also breaks into what age they're supposed to be, because in 2011, hold on, let's see what how old he is. He was born in He was born in 81. So he was 30 when this came out. He was 30 when this came out. And Mila was almost 30. She was 28. So 20, almost 30. So they're about that age range. Still a little questionable on the ages. Like, in those jobs, although they have him try to be kind of this hipper art director, art design guys, like he's into like the internet and stuff, so that explains his age a little bit, but it doesn't explain hers. Because your headhunters a little bit older, aren't really art director, manager types in these situations, at least in their 30s. Aren't both of them at least in their 30s? That was maybe something I noticed because I'm in my 30s, and I was like, it seemed a little young to be in those jobs, but whatever. Also, the headhunter would maybe even set him up with the apartment, right? Signs a contract, whatever. Maybe a celebratory dinner somewhere, right? And you know what? Hell, they might even, you know what? If they feel it enough and they're in their jobs or whatever, maybe they would fuck you. You know what? I'm gonna back off of this a little bit. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Maybe they occasionally. I mean, it's Justin freaking Timberlake, for crying out loud, in 2011. Maybe she is gonna try to hang out with him. Maybe not even try to hang out. She's gonna try to fuck him and then leave him. But you know, there's some inconsistency. There's really some unrealism, not realism, not surrealism, because it ain't dreamlike. But it's unrealistic a bit how that whole relationship starts with them getting to that point. I mean, he's like, oh, you're the only person I know in the city. In real life, if she's not, in a lot of cases, it's just be like, well, welcome to New York, motherfucker. Like, you're on your own. Like, you'd have to go out and find your own friends somewhere, as opposed to, you hanging out with the person that recruited you. You know what I mean? There was a time where there was a possible missed opportunity in my early life that could have happened, but I was too stupid. So maybe, but probably not. But maybe, but probably not. Yada yada yada. Typical Mila Kunis abrasiveness. The soundtrack is fairly timely in this movie. In the beginning, there's a Janelle Monáe track, Tightrope, 2011. That's about the time, right? There's another song that came out around that time. It's very timely, the music at that point. Once it gets later into the movie, it gets more cliched with the soundtrack. But in the beginning, it seems hipper in the beginning than it tries to throw you off a little bit. It seems more genuine in the beginning than it gets into the end. Woody Harrelson's good in this movie for the small parts that he's in it. I think that's about right when you'd want him in it. He's a gay guy and he just makes sexual jokes about shit all the time. And I think they balance him out about right. Too many more scenes with him and it would have been too much, I think, just because the character's really one-dimensional. However, Woody Harrelson at some point and Justin Timberlake go play basketball in the park, and rather than catch the subway or whatever, Woody Harrelson hops over a fence, and Justin Timberlake's like, "What the hell happened?" And he lands in his boat, and he's like, "I'm not taking the thing. I'm gonna go on my boat." They had a boat scene for Woody Harrelson, and they held on to the shot of this boat and Woody Harrelson riding this boat through the waters of New York City for not an inordinate amount of time, but long enough to let you know that they had this boat scene and they had Woody Harrelson for one day riding this boat, and god damn it, they paid for the boat. They paid for the time in New York City to have him ride this boat, because I'm sure they had to get a permit somewhere. They paid for Woody Harrelson's day and his time. They paid for the shot. They paid for the cameraman. They paid for the editor. God damn it, they're going to get this shit in the movie. They're going to get their money's worth out of this boat scene. And they do later on, too, because Justin Timberlake's back with his father. His father's coming to visit him, and he's got to do the Rom-com race to get Mila Kunis back. And we will never make time to traffic in the city. Wait, I've got an idea. And he calls Woody Harrelson, which seemingly would take longer than sitting in traffic, you would think. But anyway, it's a stupid rom-com movie, and it really devolves into rom-com territory at the end. But we'll get there. And matter of fact, no, we're going to start right here. It devolves into rom-com territory at the end and has the nerve, the gall, the unmitigated testicular fortitude to try to bribe its way to the rom-com ending. It tries to bribe its way there in the beginning by making fun of rom-com stereotypes. Jason, not Sudeikis, Segel, the Jason guy, and Rashida Jones are pretending to be in this rom-com that Mila Kunis likes and watches with Justin Timberlake, right? In their apartment. And it's clearly a fake rom-com. They're doing the stereotypes, etc., etc. So it tries to buy the rom-com tropes by making fun of the rom-com tropes. So apparent, and I'm sure it worked with the majority of the audience. This movie has a damn near 5-star rating on Netflix. It's got just a little bit of corner off there from the 5. It's obviously like a $4.99 rating on Netflix right now. Cause it bribed its way. It not even really. It wasn't even really that good. the bribery wasn't even that good the way they did it. Like, it was readily apparent that that's what they were doing, but they did it anyway, and it got over, I guess, with some people. I don't know. So they decide, they start off as friends, and they decide, why can't we have sex? It's like, people play tennis. Why can't we have sex the way people play tennis? We'll just have sex and no strings and yada yada. And they try to do these funny little sex montage where they're telling each other what they like and what they don't like in these different positions, etc., 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 etc. Which all would have been fine. And this is a rated R movie. And that's why I was thinking, I'm like, oh, was this the movie? Because I remember there were 2 movies that came out around this time. This one, Friends with Benefits, and there was something else I can't remember. And it was at the same time. The same time. And I remember not wanting to see one because it was rated PG-13. And I thought this was it. Because rated PG-13, especially comedies, if they're not specifically designed for that 13 rating, it can be bad and you can see the flaws in it. I'm like, maybe I don't want to see it. So this is the one that was rated R, and I know the actresses, they may not want to show off their tits or whatever. You're in a sex movie though, Mila, and so it's readily apparent when you have the bed sheet that doesn't move despite you doing stuff that requires movement, and or anybody who's had any good sex really knows that most of the good sex you have is probably not under the covers. It's probably over the covers. If you're doing it right, there's movement, there's sweating, the covers are going to get tangled somewhere, somebody's going to trip and fall and break their neck, or whatever. You can use the bed sheets, you can tie somebody up with them, but before that, before the night is over, you're not using the bed sheets. The bed sheets are tossed to the side. You pull them over after you're done and you're all sweaty and you don't want to catch cold. That's what you do with the bed sheets and sex. But they're all covered and strategic. Oh, you want to see Mila Kunis' tits? I mean, what little of them there were in 2011. But yeah, but also no. It's a realism thing. It's a detail thing. Get a body double. Get a fucking body double if you need to. Or get different angles that don't require the bed sheets to be in the way, etc., etc. Like, it's always unnatural when the guy's sitting there with his chest hanging out and the girl's sitting there and her hands are hanging out, but the sheets are right over her tits. That never happens. Ugh. Anyway, just takes the. It's not real. It's not. I know it's not real, but it's all further not real. It's too fake for what we're doing here. They decide they're gonna have uncomplicated sex, and she's like, I'm a true romantic, and so at a certain point they decide, no, we're not gonna have sex anymore, and I'm gonna go, and Mila Kunis is gonna go and find her her guy, and Justin Timberlake's gonna go and find his girl, and they're still gonna be friends. They're still gonna be best of friends, best of buddies of all times, even though they're male and female, and they like like the opposite sex, and they like each other, and they like having sex with each other, and they're super attracted to each other, and they're super, into each other, etc. But they're just gonna be friends. Now, before you come in the comment section on your clickety-clack machines and you tell me, oh, it happens all the time, Surreal, I've done it, blah, 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 blah. We're the happiest we've ever been. Okay, first off, if you're a woman and you're saying that, the dude still wants to fuck you and has always wanted to fuck you and has never not wanted to fuck you. He said it is, he's lying, he wants to fuck you. Secondly, if you're this movie really did remind me of a girl that I used to date that's in a similar vein to this. If you're that girl, yes, I still want to fuck you. Like, it's not always and forever. Always and forever. And the only reason you're not is because you decide that you're not. It's no other reason. Jenna Elfman plays Justin Timberlake's sister, and she's like, oh, don't send her away, blah, blah. She's the one that's like, oh, you guys are perfect for each other. You like each other, blah, blah, blah. So why aren't you together? Why is she just your friend, blah, 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 blah. Yes, that's one of the few things I agree with Jenna Elfman on. Which is ironic, because in this movie, there's a scene where Justin Timberlake says something about Scientology, and I am shocked that Jenna Elfman let that in the movie and let herself in this movie that says something about Scientology and how weird they are. Like, it's just a quick little throwaway line. Something like, oh, I respect science fiction or whatever. But that's weird, because she's a hardened Scientologist. That's super fucking weird. Anyway, so they decide they're going to find their actual loves of their lives, right? They're going to do this stupid fakakta, we're just platonic friends thing. Anyway, everybody just have sex with whoever the fuck you want to have sex with, please and thank you. Stop. Get the fuck out of your head. This is my public service announcement. Get out of your fucking head and fuck whoever you want to fuck, please and thank you. And tell them that you want to fuck them. And don't take offense when somebody says they want to fuck you, please and thank you. The world will be all much better, much more easygoing, much more relaxed place. Anyway, how the fuck? So they decide they're going to see other people. This is the point I've been trying to get to 5 fucking times. They decide they're going to go see other people. Justin Timberlake sees this girl. He meets her. Woody Harrelson asks him out to a bar, a straight bar. He's going to meet this girl. We don't see him meeting the girl. We see him on the couch with the girl, and she's all over him. She's primal. She's a primal girl. You don't know what primal is, go to FetLife and ask. Go to Urban Dictionary and find out. I know what it is because I'm on FetLife and I've seen it, a little bit of it. So like she's like sniffing him and she's like really into him, etc., etc. He gets a call from his sister. She's very possessive, which is or isn't really a part of primal. But anyway, and in this scene, I swear Justin Timberlake had this in his fucking contract. Not only do we get to see Justin Timberlake's ass multiple fucking times in this movie as he walks away and is in the room, and I think there's one shot where it's just kind of staring at his ass and we see Mila Kunis in the background. Fine, whatever. You got to make your money somehow. We all know who this movie was probably targeted towards in that vein. And Justin Timberlake, of course, has his shirt off because let's face it, if I had Justin Timberlake's torso, I would never, and The Rock means ever, wear a fucking shirt. Are you kidding me? Ever. There's another scene where he's on the couch with the girl and she's sniffing all over him, etc., etc. And he takes the time to show off his tries and show off his buys. He show off his arms and the cuts and the striations and everything. It's like, Jesus Christ, Justin, I know you got to sell CDs. But God damn, boy. Like, God, does it have to be this apparent? Fine, I guess it does. Mila Kunis, in the meantime, in between time, goes off and finds herself an oncologist. A doctor, for those of you that don't know what that is. Los Angeles school systems and all that. Anyway, she finds herself a doctor. And the doctor seems perfect for her. And she tells him about the 5-date rule where she doesn't want to have sex out until after the 5th date, which is stupid. Ladies, come here. Come here, ladies. Come here. No, come here. I'm not going to hurt you. Come here. I'm going to hurt your feelings, but come here. Date rules are dumb. Date rules are stupid. Date rules are dumb. They're just stupid. and you just use them to sabotage your fucking selves. Because if you have the chemistry, you have the chemistry. And if you don't, and if you find out that the guy or girl, whatever, is good in bed or not good in bed early on, that saves you, that gives you so much more leeway on where the fuck to go. And if you're safe with it, and if you like what you're doing, fucking do what you're doing. Life is too short to be sitting there on these stupid date rules. Now, maybe, just maybe, use these stupid date rules to get free drinks and free dinners, etc., etc., etc. But don't. But fucking don't. Okay? Listen, fucking fuck whoever you want to fuck. Okay? Whatever the fuck you want to fuck them. If that's on the 5th date because you just happen to vibe on that 5th date or something like that, and you're not sure, whatever, fine. But if you're holding back for an arbitrary day because of some stupid song or some stupid other girl who's trying to sabotage your shit, or some stupid movie that you fucking seen, or some stupid Derek Jackson ass motherfucker or Steve Harvey ass motherfucker, stop. You're hurting yourself. You're fucking yourself up. Stop it. Stop it. Anyway, so she tells him about this. And he's like, oh, I'm perfectly cool with that, yada, yada, yada. 5th date happens. They fuck on the couch, and which apparently is something. It's another thing. Justin Timberlake brings up they have sex for the first time in the bedroom. He's like, isn't that too intimate? We can do it on the couch. He's like, fuck it, we're going to go in the bedroom. I guess that's supposed to be a clue, too, because she fucks the oncologist on the couch. And I guess that's supposed to be some kind of clue somewhere, or whatever the fuck. She fucks him on the couch. She really likes the guy. She goes off to get coffee, but he does a sneak off thing because he got his after the 5th date. By the way, this is another thing. Guys, on the flip side, if she makes you for an arbitrary day, fucking skip out, homie. What are you doing? What are you doing? She's determined whether she likes you in the first 15 seconds. She decided whether she wanted to fuck you in the first 15 seconds of meeting you. If she swiped right on you, she decided she wanted to fuck you. What are you waiting 5 dates for? My max is 3. You fucking 5? Get the fuck out of here. What are you doing? Have some respect for yourself, King. You dropped this. Here's your crown. You dropped it. Anyway. So he skips out, and she's all in her feelings, and she was going to go somewhere with her vagabond mom, but she drops out, and then Justin Timberlake is like, come to LA with me for 4th of July weekend, and she does, and she meets the family, including his little nephew, which happens to be one of the sons of Modern Family, and Jenna Elfman, who's a sister, and his dad, who has Alzheimer's. This is where the movie tries to buy more gravitas than it fucking needs or deserves. Because the first half of the movie, it's trying to be cute. Not even cute. I guess it is. Like, Mila Kunis is trying to be the cute kind of tomboy thing, and Justin Timberlake is just kind of this blank slate character. And in LA, in New York, Mila Kunis is like trying to recruit him for the job. She's like, well, I can't get you on the job. Let me sell you on New York. So she goes to LA, which is Timberlake, and I guess, again, this is supposed to be, or maybe I'm reading too much into this, he's selling her on LA, although at the time they're not together, they're both single, but they're not together, and they decided they're just going to be friends, but even there, they fuck. And the dad has Alzheimer's, and he's trying to, talking about memories with Justin Timberlake's mom, and this girl Dee Dee, and all his different memories and stuff, yada, yada, yada. Including when the dad comes to visit Justin Timberlake in New York, he calls out to Dee Dee again, and Justin Timberlake asks who Dee Dee is, and the dad says, Dee Dee was the love of my life, and I think that affected my relationship with your mom, and life is too short, you gotta go get it, son, you gotta go get it, and that's where they go race off to do the big third act thing. Anyway, in LA, this is where the big third act breakup happens, even though they're not really together in the beginning. So they fuck in LA, and Justin Timberlake's nephew is into magic, and he's trying to saw Mila Kunis in half. He goes to get a different saw. She's in the box. Justin Timberlake and Jenna Elfman start talking. They don't see Mila Kunis there. She hides in the box, and Justin Timberlake is trying to guard his feelings by saying, this is where Jenna Elfman's like, you're perfect for each other. Go to her. Be with her. And Justin Timberlake's like, oh, listen, Magnum P.I. couldn't fix the stuff that's going wrong with her. She's damaged. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Fifis are hurt. Justin Timberlake and Jenna Elfman go off. Mila Kunis packs her bags and leaves, and she's all fucking butthurt, and Justin Timberlake doesn't understand why, because he doesn't know that she heard him, and he was basically just trying to protect his feelings, because she had already said multiple times that they're just doing this. Man, does this really remind me of this girl in my 20s. I gotta give her at least a text message or a call when I'm done doing this review. This really reminds me of that. Miscommunication all over the place. If either one of them had rom-com trope, if either one of them had said what they actually mean and what they actually feel, we wouldn't have had the second half of this stupid movie. If me and this girl had said what the fuck we actually thought, we wouldn't have had the 20s that we had with each other. Anyway, so yada yada yada. She goes back to New York. Justin Timberlake comes back. Her mom tries to give her advice. Apparently, Justin Timberlake called her mom to set the thing up anyway. Earlier on, in order to sell Justin Timberlake on coming to New York, she brought him to the middle of a flash mob to set him up, and he's like, I'll take it. So he then sets up a flash mob for her with the songs that they mentioned in the movie and the things that she likes, etc., etc. It was tugging her heartstrings. They tug at her heartstrings. They do the whole big grand third act gesture, complete with the big whole grand act, third act, grand fucking speech at the end between the two, etc., etc., and they're the thing, and it seems like they're just gonna be friends. He's like, I have my best friend back, and then Mila Kunis finally says what she actually means. It says, kiss me, and they kiss on the thing in Grand Central Station, and yada yada yada. They're together happily ever after, and they go and have a knish somewhere, and then the movie tries again to buy itself some more credibility by having a comedic ending where they go to this diner and it looks like they're going to exchange a meal, and then like fuck it, and they start making out on the table. This movie, I think in 2011, the perception of these movies, I think in 2011, the knowledge, the not gravitas, but the sophistication of the audience was at a level where they would have bought all this. I don't know if my sophistication in these movies and in life in general 10 years ago would have prevented me from liking and putting this sort of on a pedestal in terms of rom-com movies is concerned. But as of now, as of me and my house today, the tropes, the back and forth, of them trying to buy the shit off at the end, and then had the nerve, the gall, the unmitigated testicular fortitude to, at the end of this shit, have a post-credit scene where they make fun of bloopers in rom-coms by showing fake bloopers of the Jason Segel, I think is his name, and Rashida Jones movie with Justin Timberlake and Mila Kunis talking shit over that. Had the unmitigated ovarian fortitude to do that shit. You gotta be kidding me. However, in terms of the relationship between the two characters in this movie, JT and Mila Kunis, they're fine. They're fine. I buy them as friends with benefits. I can see them as a romantic couple. I can buy the chemistry between them as a romantic couple. She, is doing her typical Mila Kunis thing where she runs over the guy, and it works. Justin Timberlake lets her do it. The way this thing was put together, and again, looking at it at the lens of 10 years ago versus now, I may have been cantankerous to this 10 years ago for different reasons. However, I'm trying to think, does this speak to me? Is this really telling the story of how these things kind of work out? And, I just said it a couple of times. Maybe it's very reminiscent of a relationship I had in my 20s with a girl. So maybe it's fairly accurate in some of the depictions. Really when it comes down to, and it's the rom-com trope of and this isn't a spoiler, it's every rom-com. It's somebody not saying what they should. Usually both of them, sometimes just one of them. But somebody not saying something, no, both of them not saying what they really mean, and then one person says something that the other person doesn't want to hear, either by accident or on purpose in a fight. Like it's the trope. It's how it goes. It's in that aspect, it's paint by numbers. In the actual dialogue and the chemistry, it's fine. It's actually okay. The chemistry of the side characters, you know, I feel like they almost felt like they needed to pad some time a little bit. They didn't. It's an hour and 50 minutes, maybe, post-credits, maybe after the credits run. But before the credits run, it's about an hour and a half or so. So, you know, it's right in that time frame. Are you going to walk away learning anything from this, or is it just another breezy rom-com? I'm trying to think if it's better than some. It's no When Harry Met Sally. When Harry Met Sally is the ultimate. It really is. I've seen that one multiple times. When Harry Met Sally really is the rom-com. It is the one. It's that and everything else. You know, where it is on that spectrum in terms of romantic comedies, you know, it's different places. And don't start with me on Love Jones. That shit wasn't a romantic comedy. It was a romantic movie. It was drama, really. But, you know, dramedy, right. But rom-com, we're talking about Harry Met Sally is the one. This movie, though, it's certainly not 5 stars. I'll tell you that now. It ain't a full 5 stars, and it ain't at $15. But I do like the chemistry. It's a little on the nose at points. It tries to buy itself more than it really has in its holster at points. But that said, I don't hate the movie. And important point, I didn't hate the characters, really. Even Mila Kunis being typical Mila Kunis, I didn't hate the characters. I didn't hate JT. I didn't hate Mila. I didn't even hate the side characters, which is huge in these movies. A lot of times in these movies, and I've said it here before, I hate the freaking characters. I don't hate these characters. I don't know how much time I'd want to spend with them later. I don't know, but I don't hate them. Like, they're fine. They're fine people. So I think out of $15, Friends with Benefits. Jesus, is that right? Am I really gonna mark it this high? Or this low? No, this high. Do I want to mark it this high? It's fine. Can I say it at that point? Maybe. It's fine. It's okay. And that's still above average. I don't know that I want to put it that high. Maybe. Maybe split the difference. I'm toggling between two numbers, and I think I might split the difference. So I will. Out of $15, Friends with Benefits is worth. It does try. Here, it does try. There's a couple things it does try. It does. The consistency isn't all the way through, but it does try. So I can feel the effort, and not like a trying to. I might regret giving it this high a number, but I'm going to give it anyway. 10 out of $15. 10 out of 15. 10 out of 15. 10 out. I was toggling between $9.50 and 10. I just talked myself into 10, and I'm going to leave it right there. 10 out of $15. Like I said, the chemistry is fine. I don't hate the characters, which is a big bonus. I think that's really what carries it over the top. I don't hate the characters. I don't hate them. They're fine. I don't love them, but I don't hate them. There are a couple chuckles in there. I kind of like a couple things. I kind of like the characters. Fine. 10 out of $15 is where it stays. So saith the surreal. Party people. What saith you? How right am I? Huh? Because you can't say I'm wrong. Because I'm never wrong. Especially not here on my channel. But you can be down here in the comments section. I need you to like, I need you to share. You can subscribe too if you want to. You're already here. You already talked about that. But you can like it, and you can share it with the entire YouTube viewing world if you want to. You should. You should do it. You should support it. It costs you absolutely nothing except a couple of friends on Facebook. And you don't have friends on Facebook. Everyone on Facebook is only there to fight. So just go over there and fight over the quality of my videos. Please and thank you. Also, I have a podcast. It comes out every Thursday with my homeboy Trey. It's called the How Do We Even Get Here podcast. You can find it on up to 13 different audio platforms. All you have to do is search How Do We Even Get Here. Or if you want to see the video versions, there are links in the description. Or go to Linktree tinyurl.com/getHereTube. We do have a Linktree, and that's where you can find all our shit too. That link is in the description. And in the meantime, the in-between, this shit is certainly not 5 stars though. I'm gonna fix this horse shit right now. Remove from my list because I don't intend on watching it again. And that's about right. That's about right. In the meantime, the in-between time. Cheers.
I'm a nice guy, I'm a nice place, with a nice smile on my nice face. Turn your back and I'm making sure my night's straight. And when you're out of town, I'll be making sure your wife's straight.